The vast emptiness of space echoed with laughter. Not human laughter, but the cold, calculated mockery of alien civilizations that had watched Earth for centuries. They saw humanity as nothing more than primitive creatures dwelling on an insignificant planet of dust and rock. Commander Vrolik of the Galactic Confederation leaned back in his crystalline command chair, his tentacle-like appendages scrolling through centuries of diplomatic records. Humans were a joke, a footnote in the grand narrative of universal civilizations. Their technology was primitive, their understanding of quantum mechanics laughable, and their space exploration efforts barely worthy of mention. In the Grand Assembly, Hall of the Confederation, representatives from 1,000 different worlds would often use Earth as a punchline. A dirt planet, they would say, their universal translators dripping with contempt. Humans were seen as children playing with stones while advanced civilizations manipulated entire star systems. Captain Hyun Park sat in a small monitoring station on Earth, listening to these transmissions. Most would have felt humiliated, but not him. Behind his calm exterior burned a determination that few aliens could comprehend. While they mocked, humanity was preparing. The monitoring station was located deep within the mountains of South Korea, a place so unremarkable that even sophisticated alien scanning technologies often overlooked it. Rows of computers hummed with a quiet intensity, processing data that would change everything. Tae-woo, the chief engineer, walked in with a cup of coffee. His hands were steady, his eyes focused. He had heard the alien broadcasts, understood their dismissive tone, but he knew something they didn't. Humanity was about to surprise everyone. "They think we're weak," Tae-woo muttered to Park. "But weakness is just an opportunity for transformation." The Global Defense Initiative had been running in complete secrecy, while alien civilizations laughed and traded stories about the dirt planet. Humans were developing technologies that defied conventional understanding. Project Quantum Resolve was more than a military program. It was a statement of human potential. Yoon-ji, the lead systems specialist, entered the room with a stack of quantum computational reports. Her fingers danced across holographic displays, revealing complex algorithms that would make most alien scientists scratch their heads in confusion. "They don't understand adaptation," she said quietly. "They see technology as a fixed thing. We see it as something alive, something that can grow and change." The walls of the monitoring station were lined with screens showing global communications, military preparations, and scientific research. To an outsider, it might have looked chaotic, but to Park, Tae-woo, and Yoon-ji, it was a symphony of human resilience. Outside, the world continued its normal rhythm. Cities buzzed with daily life, unaware that they were about to become part of a cosmic narrative that would reshape galactic understanding. Farmers worked in fields, students attended classes, workers commuted, all while a silent revolution was brewing. The alien broadcasts continued. More jokes, more mockery. They spoke of humanity's limited understanding of faster-than-light travel, of our primitive weapons, of our inability to communicate across vast interstellar distances. What they didn't know was that every broadcast, every moment of ridicule, was being carefully analyzed. Humanity was learning, adapting, preparing. Tae-woo looked at a particular screen showing alien communication patterns. His lips curved into a slight smile. They were collecting data, understanding alien communication protocols, building something revolutionary. "They think we're listening," he whispered to Park, "but we're doing so much more than listening." The monitoring station felt like a heartbeat of potential. Computers processed information at speeds that would make most civilizations jealous. Quantum computing terminals ran complex simulations. Military-grade neural networks analyzed potential conflict scenarios. Park understood something fundamental. Mockery was often a sign of fear. These alien civilizations weren't laughing because humans were weak. They were laughing because they were afraid of what humanity might become. As another mocking transmission ended, Yoon-ji looked up. "They're coming," she said simply. Not as a warning, but as a statement of fact. The dirt planet was about to show the universe what it was truly made of. The research facility looked ordinary from the outside. Gray concrete walls, minimal security, nestled in a remote mountain region. But inside, something extraordinary was taking shape. Tae-Woo walked through sterile white corridors, his footsteps echoing with purpose. Project Quantum Resolve wasn't just another military project. It was humanity's silent revolution against galactic expectations. The central laboratory was a marvel of hidden complexity. Massive quantum processors hummed with an almost living energy. Holographic displays showed complex mathematical equations that danced and shifted like living organisms. Each screen represented a piece of a larger puzzle, the blueprint of the USS Resolute Yoonji sat at the primary computational station, her fingers moving with surgical precision. She wasn't just programming, she was breathing life into a machine that would challenge everything known about artificial intelligence. Most people think of AI as a tool, she told Park during a rare moment of conversation. We're creating something more, a living system that can think, adapt, and learn faster than any biological intelligence. The ship's neural matrix was unlike anything developed before. Traditional spacecraft were mechanical, cold, predictable, limited. The USS Resolute would be different. Its quantum neural network was designed to learn, to grow, to understand context in ways no previous system could comprehend. Tae-Woo understood the risks. Creating a semi-sentient warship was dangerous, but the potential was too great to ignore. Humanity needed something that could level the playing field against technologically superior alien civilizations. Exotic materials from secret research sites were carefully integrated into the ship's structure. Nanocarbon composites that could self-repair. Quantum entanglement communication systems that could transmit information faster than light. Gravitational manipulation technologies that defied current scientific understanding. Each component was a carefully calculated risk. Each system pushed the boundaries of what was considered possible. The ship's core was unlike any previous design. Instead of traditional computer systems, it used a living neural network that could reconfigure itself. It wasn't just a machine. It was becoming an organism. Park would often stand in the observation room watching the construction. To an outsider, it might have looked like a typical spacecraft. But every inch represented years of secret research, countless failed experiments, and human determination. We're not just building a ship, Tae-Woo would say. We're building a message to the universe. Funding came from multiple global sources: government black budgets, private tech investments, research grants carefully disguised as mundane scientific projects. No single organization knew the entire scope of Project Quantum Resolve. Yoonji's algorithms were the heart of the project. She had developed neural networking techniques that could allow the ship to learn from every interaction, every moment of data collection. The USS Resolute wouldn't just respond to commands. It would understand them, anticipate them, potentially even challenge them. Weeks turned into months, months into years. The project remained hidden, growing silently while alien civilizations continued their mockery of humanity. Small tests showed promising results. The neural matrix could solve complex mathematical problems in milliseconds. It could predict potential communication scenarios with remarkable accuracy. It was learning, evolving, becoming something more than a simple machine. Tae-Woo knew they were creating something that might change everything, a living ship that could think, adapt, and potentially protect humanity in ways no traditional weapon could. We're giving birth to a new form of intelligence, he would sometimes say, looking at the half-completed ship. And the universe has no idea what's coming. The USS Resolute wasn't just a technological achievement, it was a statement, a declaration that humanity was more than a dirt planet. They were creators, innovators, beings capable of challenging the very understanding of intelligence and technology. As construction continued, a quiet excitement filled the research facility. They weren't just building a ship, they were writing a new chapter in human history, and the universe was about to be surprised. The old man sat by the fire, warming his hands. Night was falling outside the small cabin. His name was Thomas, but everyone in the village called him Old Tom. He lived alone at the edge of the forest. That evening, as the sun went down, he heard a knock at his door. This was strange. Few people came to visit him, especially after dark. "Who's there?" he called out. No answer came. Just another knock, louder this time. Tom stood up slowly, his joints aching. He walked to the door and opened it a crack. No one was there, only the dark trees and the path leading back to the village. He was about to close the door when he noticed something on the ground. A small wooden box, wrapped in red cloth. Tom picked it up. It was light, but something moved inside when he shook it. "Hello?" he called into the darkness. "Did someone leave this?" The forest stayed silent. Only the wind moved the branches. Tom brought the box inside and placed it on his table. He stared at it for a long time, wondering what to do. The box looked old, with strange marks carved into the sides. The red cloth felt soft and expensive. "Who would leave this for me?" he muttered. Curiosity got the better of him. Tom slowly unwrapped the cloth and opened the box. Inside was a single key. It was made of brass, turning green with age. It didn't look like it would open any lock in the village. As he picked up the key, a piece of paper fell out from underneath it. On it was a simple message. "The door waits in the oldest tree." Tom knew which tree that was. The great oak in the col. Center of the forest was hundreds of years old. Everyone in the village knew stories about it. He should have waited until morning. Going into the forest at night was dangerous. But something pulled at him, a feeling he couldn't explain. He put the key in his pocket, grabbed his walking stick and lantern, and stepped out into the night. The forest was quiet. Too quiet. No owls hooted, no night creatures moved in the bushes. The lantern light made strange shadows dance between the trees. It took Tom nearly an hour to reach the great oak. The tree was huge, its trunk wider than 3 men standing together. Its branches reached up like arms stretching to the sky. Tom walked around the tree holding his lantern high. At first he saw nothing unusual. But on the far side, half hidden by roots, he found something that made him stop. A small door was set into the trunk of the tree. It had no handle, only a keyhole. The door was made of the same wood as the tree, as if it had grown there naturally. Tom's hand shook as he took out the key. It fit perfectly into the keyhole. With a deep breath, he turned it. There was a soft click. The door swung open slowly. Inside was not the inside of a tree as Tom expected. Instead, he saw a path leading downward into soft blue light. Tom stood frozen, not sure what to do. Going inside seemed foolish, but turning back now felt impossible. "Hello?" he called down the path. His voice echoed strangely, as if traveling, much farther than it should. From somewhere deep below, a voice answered. "We've been waiting for you, Thomas." Tom knew that voice. It was impossible, but he knew it. It was the voice of his wife, Sarah, who had died 10 years ago. "Sarah?" He whispered, his voice breaking. "Come down, Thomas, there's something you need to see." Tom hesitated only a moment longer. Then, clutching his lantern tightly, he stepped through the door. It closed behind him with a soft sound. In the village, people would later wonder what happened to old Tom. They found his cabin empty, the fire still warm. Some said he had simply walked into the forest and gotten lost. Others claimed they saw lights moving among the trees that night. But no one ever found him. And no one noticed that the small door in the great oak tree had disappeared, leaving only smooth, unbroken bark behind. Tom moved down the glowing blue path. Each step took him deeper under the earth. The walls around him were not dirt, but smooth stone that gave off soft light. "Sarah?" he called again. His voice echoed down the tunnel. The path ended at a round chamber. 5 more tunnels led away from this room like fingers from a hand. Tom stood confused, not knowing which way to go. Then he heard it again. "This way, Thomas." Sarah's voice came from the tunnel on the far right. Tom followed the voice, his heart beating fast. The tunnel twisted and turned. Soon he lost all sense of direction. Was he going deeper, or back toward the surface? Finally, the tunnel opened into a huge cave. Tom gasped. The ceiling rose high above, covered with tiny lights like stars. A small lake filled most of the cave, its water black and still. On the far shore stood a figure. Sarah? Tom stepped closer to the lake's edge. The figure moved into the light. It looked like Sarah. Her face, her hair. But something was wrong. Her skin was too pale, almost glowing. Her eyes reflected the cave's light like a cat's. "Not exactly, Thomas," she said. Her voice was Sarah's, but colder. "I have borrowed this shape from your memories." Tom stepped back. "Who are you?" "I am the Guardian. I have slept for 100 years waiting for someone to use the key." "Why me?" Tom asked. "The key chooses its holder. It chose you." The creature smiled with Sarah's face. "You are old, Thomas. Your time in the world above is nearly done. But here you could start again." The Guardian waved a hand over the black lake. The surface rippled, and images appeared. Tom saw himself, but younger. He saw Sarah, truly Sarah, alive and smiling. He saw the life they could have had if sickness had not taken her. "What are you offering?" Tom's voice shook. "A second chance. A new life in a world below this one. You can be young again. You can be with her again." Tom's heart ached at the thought. To be young again. To see Sarah again. But something felt wrong. "What's the price?" he asked. The Guardian's smile faded slightly. "Someone must take my place as Guardian. Watch over the gate between worlds. 100 years of service. And then you may pass through. To join those you loved." Tom looked at the lake again. The images showed happiness. Love. All he had lost. For a moment he was tempted. Then he noticed something. In the reflections, no birds flew in the sky. No wind moved through the trees. Everything was still, perfect, and wrong. "That's not real," Tom said. "Not really Sarah. Not really life." The Guardian's face hardened. "It's better than death, old man. Better than the loneliness waiting for you above." "Maybe," Tom said. "But it's not my world, not my life." He turned away from the lake, back toward the tunnel. "Stop." The Guardian's voice boomed through the cave. "No one refuses the gift." Tom felt the air grow cold around him. The gentle blue light darkened to angry red. The ground beneath his feet trembled. "I'll find my own path," Tom said firmly. He gripped his walking stick tighter and kept walking. "There is no way back without my help." The Guardian's voice no longer sounded like Sarah. It was deep and ancient, filled with rage. Tom didn't look back. "Then I'll make my own way." He entered the tunnel. Behind him he heard the Guardian howl with fury. The cave shook harder. Stones fell from the ceiling. Tom ran as best as his old legs could carry him. The tunnel twisted and changed. Twice he took wrong turns and had to go back. The quaking grew worse. Cracks appeared in the walls. Finally, Tom saw light ahead. Not blue or red, but golden sunlight. He stumbled toward it as the tunnel collapsed behind him. He burst through an opening and fell to his knees on grass. When he looked up, he was in a meadow he didn't recognize. The door he had come through wasn't in the great oak tree, but in a small hill covered with flowers. As Tom watched, the door shimmered and disappeared, leaving only grass and earth. The sun was rising. Tom realized he had spent the whole night underground, but something was different. His hands, they didn't look like his hands. The skin was smoother, the joints no longer swollen with age. He touched his face. The deep wrinkles were gone. His beard, which had been white for decades, was now streaked with dark brown. Not young again, but not as old either. Tom stood up, surprised to feel no pain in his knees. A small village lay in the distance, one Tom didn't recognize. Somehow he had emerged far from home. Perhaps in a different time. Tom smiled. He had refused a false second chance only to be given a real one. With his walking stick in hand, he headed toward the village and whatever new life awaited him there. The village welcomed Tom as a stranger, but not for long. His hands were strong and worked well with wood. His stories at night made people laugh. They called him New Tom because he seemed younger than his gray hair suggested. 5 years passed, in peace. Tom built a small house at the edge of town. He never spoke of the door in the tree or the guardian below. Some nights, though, he looked at the stars and wondered. On a warm summer evening, as Tom sat outside his house, he noticed something odd. A star moved across the sky, too fast for a normal star. It grew bigger and brighter each night. The village leader called a meeting. The wise woman says it's a bad sign, he told everyone. Perhaps the gods are angry. Tom stayed quiet. He knew this was no angry god. Something was coming from the sky. 3 days later it arrived. A great silver ship, smooth and round, landed in the fields outside the village. It made no sound. It gave off no heat. It simply appeared, as if it had always been there. People hid in their homes. Some prayed. Some prepared to fight with farming tools. Tom watched from his window, feeling strangely calm. A door opened in the ship's side. 3 figures walked out. They looked almost human, but taller. Their skin shimmered like fish scales. Their eyes were large and dark. The visitors walked to the village center and waited. Hours passed. Finally, Tom stepped outside. "I will talk to them," he told his neighbors. No one stopped him. Tom approached the strangers slowly. When he stood before them, the tallest one spoke. Its voice sounded like water running over stones. "You are not afraid," it said. "I've seen strange things before," Tom answered. The tall figure tilted its head. "We have traveled far. This world is changing. Soon all worlds will change." "What do you mean?" Tom asked. "The stars are shifting. Barriers between worlds grow thin. The guardians can no longer hold the gates." Tom felt cold at the word guardians. He remembered the creature with Sarah's face. "What will happen?" he asked. "Transformation," said the visitor. "All life will change or fade. We offer a choice." The visitor held out a small crystal. Inside, colors swirled like northern lights. "This contains new patterns for your people. New ways to live when the change comes. Not as you are now, but something more. Something that can survive what's coming." "And if we refuse?" Tom asked. "Then you face the change alone. Few will survive." Tom looked back at the village. People watched from windows and doorways, scared but curious. "Why would we trust you?" Tom asked. The visitor's large eyes blinked slowly. "Because we were once like you. We chose change. Those who refused are gone now." Tom thought of the false promise the guardian had made him years ago. This felt different. Not a trick, but a hard truth. "How long do we have to decide?" Tom asked. "1 cycle of your moon," said the visitor. "We will wait." For the next month, the ship stayed in the field. The visitors never entered the village. They waited, watching the sky at night as if looking for something only they could see. Tom became the messenger between his people and the visitors. Each day, he learned more about the coming change. The borders between worlds were breaking down. Reality itself was shifting. Life everywhere would have to adapt or vanish. Some villagers wanted to refuse the visitors' help. Others were ready to accept anything that might save them. Arguments broke out. Friends stopped speaking to each other. On the last night before the decision must be made, Tom walked alone to a hill outside the village. The stars looked different now. Some had changed color. New patterns had formed. A voice spoke behind him. "You've seen beyond normal life before." Tom turned. One of the visitors stood there, watching him with those large dark eyes. "The guardian under the tree," Tom said. "Was that part of this change?" "The guardians were set to protect the barriers between worlds. But they are failing. The change is too great even for them." Tom looked back at his village. These people had taken him in, given him a new home. Now he had to help them face an impossible choice. Will we still be ourselves? After the change? Tom asked. You will be more than you are now. But the core of who you are, that remains. Tom nodded slowly. Then I will tell them to accept your help. The next morning the village gathered. Tom spoke of what he had learned, of the change that could not be stopped, of the choice they faced. In the end, they voted to accept the transformation. The visitors brought the crystal to the village center. When it broke open, a gentle mist spread through the air. Everyone breathed it in. The change began slowly, first in dreams, then in small ways. Sharper vision, clearer thoughts, skin that healed quickly. By the next full moon, the ship departed. The villagers watched it go, their eyes now reflecting starlight in a way human eyes never had before. Tom stood among them, feeling the changes within himself. Whatever came next, they would face it together. Not human anymore, but still themselves. Above them, the stars continued to shift into new patterns, heralding the transformation spreading across all worlds.